Welcome to the first episode of Fan Fatales in 2022. I'm Emma.
And I'm Gaby, and we hope you had a great holiday season and have an even better 2022. So in this episode, we're going to be covering some new releases since the last time we talked.
That's right. So we are going to be talking about in this episode our thoughts about Encanto, Tick Tick Boom, and the Return to Hogwarts 20th Anniversary Harry Potter special.
Yeah, so as always, spoilers ahead. So shall we get started?
Of course.
So before we get started, actually, I just wanted to ask you.
Okay.
If there is anything about your little break. I know we said it was going to be 2 weeks, but it actually ended up being 3, which was really nice.
It was. I was very busy.
So, yeah, I was too. Was there anything fun and exciting that you did for New Year's or Christmas?
So 2 things, actually. So the weekend before Christmas, some of my girlfriends from high school and we all went to New York and got to see a couple shows in the midst of everything closing down on Broadway.
I know. Like, literally, you were there and you were like, oh, this closed. Oh, this closed. Oh, this closed. Oh, yes. Okay, it's done.
So we ended up seeing Freestyle Love Supreme and Waitress. Which Freestyle Love Supreme, for those of you who do not know, is a group that was started by Lin-Manuel Miranda In the Heights in Hamilton, like in college days. That's just like a freestyle improv rap show. So
that's fun.
Every day is different, and they always have a special guest performer in this Broadway show. So I got to see Chris Jackson during my performance.
He's good. Yeah, I like him.
So good. It was. I highly suggest it to anyone going to New York to see that show. It's 4 people. And the most entertaining thing I saw, besides Waitress. But Waitress is now closed on Broadway.
Big sad.
It was such a good show. We weren't supposed to see it. We were supposed to see the Rockettes instead of Waitress. Mm-hmm. Actually, we were supposed to see the Rockettes. Then we got tickets to Jagged Little Pill. And then we got to the theater for Jagged Little Pill, and it was closed. So we ran over to Waitress and Six to see if they had 6 tickets available. And Waitress had 6 tickets in the box seating for $49 for the performance that started 30 minutes later.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I went to Texas for Christmas and saw my family.
Fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know how many, like in the next year, how many high school theaters are going to do Waitress once it's released for like public use.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's going to be a choice.
That's going to be a choice, and I don't think it's a choice that should be made, but that's my opinion.
Agreed.
So Gabby, what did you do during your Christmas/New Year's break?
A whole lot of nothing. I'm going to be honest. I went to a little family friend, like, get-together on Christmas Eve that we do every year.
Okay.
And somebody came super sick and got everybody else sick. Literally everybody that I talked to that went got sick. Let's see. I was the first of my family to get sick. I got sick Sunday night.
Jeez.
And I'm just now barely feeling better. I got sick the Sunday after Christmas, so.
Wow.
Yeah. I've been sick for like 3 weeks. No COVID or anything. Like, no. I tested negative.
I also tested negative. We both got COVID tests over the break.
Woohoo! So, if you guys hear me coughing in this episode, that's why I'm still trying to get over this last little bit of this bug that's just stuck.
Yeah.
Let's see. Other than that, I didn't really do much. I just watched movies all day.
What did you do on New Year's Eve? Because I know.
Oh, I played a game of D&D with some friends, and luckily that's all online. We talk over Discord, and we use Roll20 to play the game, so I was able to play D&D with some friends on New Year's Eve, which, if you follow us on Instagram, you will have already have known that.
Yes, and I, on New Year's Eve, went to a small New Year's Eve party with some people from my church, and it was at this Disney Imagineers house that I've probably talked about a bunch on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
So
Super
speaking
cool.
of New
Super
Year's, do you have any New Year's resolutions or intentions, as I like to call them?
Yeah. So actually last year at like the beginning of the year,
okay,
like maybe not the beginning of the year, but like really early in the year, I bought, let's see, like $80 worth of books. I bought a box set of Stephen King. It has The Shining, Carrie, Salem's Lot. I bought Pride and Prejudice, and I bought a book from one of my favorite authors, Jodi Picoult. I bought a book from her, and I didn't read them at all. I'm halfway through The Shining, and I stopped reading it. Oh, and I also wanted to read Sorcerer's Stone, too. That was another one I wanted to read. But, so, I'm like, I gotta read these freaking books.
Yeah, you do.
So, I actually, that's my intention. I started reading all of these good books that I have. I'm working through The Shining right now, and it's great. It's just as good as I thought it was going to be. A lot scarier than the movie, though.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a lot scarier than the movie.
Yeah. My intention is very similar to yours. It's also reading a bunch of books. I have a goal of 25 because last year I read 20 new books, so I want to up it to 5 more. Gabby's staring at me like I'm insane.
That makes my 6 look like nothing.
Well, my 20 books that I read this past year would not have been possible without Audible.
And you guys,
Audible
have our first sponsor.
So, one of my favorite books or shall I say book series that I read on Audible this past year was the Chronicles of Narnia adult box set, which is that's right, you heard me, 1 Audible credit, and it is narrated by a bunch of famous British actors like Kenneth Branagh, who was Gilderoy Lockhart in Harry Potter, and Sir Patrick Stewart, and more.
Yeah, and you guys, Audible doesn't just have audiobooks anymore. They also have some of your favorite podcasts. Like for me, I was super into the Office Ladies podcast this year. And guess what? You can find them on Audible. So if you follow our link down below in our description, you will get a 30-day free trial and you get a 1 credit for any premium selection. So if you'd like, go listen to that Narnia box set that Emma was just talking about, and you get 2 credits if you're a Prime member. I'm a Prime member. I love Amazon Prime.
I'm a Prime member.
Amazon Prime is like the best. And you get a let me try this again. And you also get all of the Audible Plus catalog of podcasts, audiobooks, guided wellness, and Audible originals. And you can listen to those all you want in those free 30 days.
Yes.
And you don't even need credits for any of those types of things, you know? So if you're like really into self-help this year and you just want to be a better person, you want to get better for yourself, go find the guided wellness that you need on Audible. They got you.
Yes.
And you know the best part for me?
What?
Is I hate when a free trial is done and then they just charge your card. They don't say anything. They're just like, we're just going to keep taking this money. And then like a year later, you're still getting charged for it and you didn't even know. Audible doesn't do that, you guys. They send you an email reminder before your trial ends to let you know, hey, the trial's over. Do you want to keep going with us? If you like Audible, guys, if you like listening to podcasts, if you like listening to books, or if you want to start a New Year's resolution or an intention to read more, get more educated, listen to whatever you want to listen to, Audible has got you, you guys.
Yes.
So go follow our link in the description. That's www.audibletrial.com/fan fatales, the same way it's spelled everywhere else. That's audibletrial.com/fan fatales. You can also find the link down in our description below. And you guys, get that awesome deal.
Yeah, come on. So Gabby, besides reading all those amazing books, what else are you looking forward to in 2022?
Honestly,
do you have anything yet?
I don't really have anything yet.
Okay.
But I'm just looking forward to making this year a good year. You know what? No matter what happens in the world, that's something we can't control. Whatever happens is going to happen. And I'm just really looking forward to, first of all, I'm looking forward to getting into a university. That would be nice.
There we go.
I don't find out until April, but, you know, that would be nice to get into university. Yeah. I'm getting it. I'm getting in. Put it out there. Put the intentions out there. But, yeah. I'm just really excited to like start the next chapter in my life, because this is a new start for me. You know, I'm really excited.
This weekend, I'm buying tickets to my first ever fan convention. Yee! I'm very excited, and I'm getting a Disney annual pass for my birthday. Like I'm buying it for myself.
Which convention are you going to?
So it is going to be, it's MegaCon, it's in Orlando, and it's in May.
Ooh, exciting.
And they're run by the same people that do Fan Expo.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought of another thing I'm excited for.
Okay.
I'm excited for our girls' trip to Nashville. That's going to be fun.
Ooh. And my last one that I'll mention for now is... in June, one of my best friends is getting married, and right before that, I'm going over to see our lovely editor in person.
That is true.
Yes. So yeah.
And just before that, we're going to Nashville.
I love that. So wait, we're going to have 2 guest episodes in a row again.
Yup. Or we're just going to have to record way in advance.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We will.
So, let's get into some of this content that was released recently.
Yes. Would you like to do the first movie?
Yeah. So, the first movie that we're going to talk about for a little bit is going to be Encanto. I'm so excited. I loved this movie. It, literally 3 minutes in, I was crying, honestly. Literally.
I have seen this movie at least 15 times since it came out on Disney Plus.
So I've seen it like 2 times, but you know what? I love this movie. The music slaps
Lin-Manuel Miranda,
hard.
Greatness. Also,
so
I'm kind of mad. I'll get into it
mad?
later on when we talk more about the music. Get into the synopsis.
Okay, so the synopsis, if you haven't seen the movie yet, first of all, what are you doing? This movie is amazing.
It is.
Second of all, the synopsis is, the Madrigals are an extraordinary family that live in a magical house in the Colombian mountains. But when Mirabel, the only ordinary family member, discovers the magic surrounding their home is in danger, she may be her family's last hope. It was directed by Jared Bush, Byron Howard, and Charisse Castro-Smith. It came out in 2021, ayo.
Yes.
And the cast includes Stephanie Beatriz as Mirabel, Maria Cecilia Botero as Abuela Alma, and Olga Meredith, I think that's how you say her last name.
I think so.
As Abuela Alma's singing voice, who was the original Broadway cast of Abuela in The Heights. She was also in the movie.
Yes.
It also features John Leguizamo as Bruno.
AKA
Mauro,
Sid the Sloth.
Yes. Honestly, look, I love him. Anyway, Mauro Castillo as Felix, Jessica Darrow as Luisa, Angie Cepeda as Julieta, Carolina Guitan as Pepa, Diane Guerrero as Isabela, Wilmer Valderrama as Augustine, who was Handy Manny.
Yes. And he's also the uncle in Wizards of Waverly Place.
No.
Yes, he's one of the uncles.
On the mom's side, not the dad's side.
On the mom's side.
Yeah. Okay, I was gonna say, it also includes Renzi Felix as Camilo, Ravi Cabot Conyers as Antonio, I don't know who, Adasa as Dolores, and Maluma, love him, I love him, as Mariano.
Ah, yes. I was like, I don't know when to end this cast list, and I was like, I should probably include Mariano.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Uncle Ernesto.
From Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yes.
You're talking about Wilmer Valderrama,
yeah.
right? Yeah, okay, because Maluma is a singer, and I love him. My mom loves him, too.
Yes.
I thought I would put it out there.
Some fun facts about this film are during the song All of You, which is toward the end of the film, Bruno sings the line, "Let it out, let it in, let it go." And while this line is rapped by him, the notes from the piano introduction of Let It Go is played, which I thought was pretty cool.
It is cool.
Yeah. Bruno was originally named Oscar, but his name was changed by Lin-Manuel Miranda to better fit the song lyrics. We don't talk about Bruno. No, no, no. And then the last fun fact is this movie and Raya and the Last Dragon mark the first time in Disney history that two human female protagonists from two different Disney animated canon films have first appeared within the same year. Which I thought was just like a really cool fun fact. But also, it took them until 2021.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about how far, like, animation technology has come within the past, like, 10 years.
True.
Like, 10 years ago, they would they were just barely getting to do, like, 3D animation well. And, like, you know?
Yeah.
So, like, they were working on projects like Tangled and The Princess and the Frog at the same time, but The Princess and the Frog came out first just because of whatever reason, you know? Just because they were still building the technology to do it. True. So I think it's more of a feat of how long animation has come. And I mean, how many, like, we've had at least 2 animated Disney movies for the last few years now.
Yeah.
Which I think is awesome. When before it used to be like a gap of 4 years, 5 years, sometimes even 6 years between films.
Yeah.
So, I'm here for it though. Give me more Disney content to talk about. I'm more than happy to talk about new Disney stuff, you know.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah. So, back to what I was saying earlier about John Leguizamo. One of my favorite parts in this whole movie is when Mina first meets Bruno, and he's like, she sees all the patched cracks, and she's like, "Oh, did you patch them?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm too much of a scaredy cat." Hernando patches them, and then he like puts on the hood, and he's just like, "I'm Hernando, I'm afraid of nothing." I love that. And then he goes, "And Jorge makes the spackle."
I love that moment too.
I love it. The voices are great. I love the memes. The memes are so good. I don't know if y'all are on Encanto TikTok, but I am.
That's all my TikTok
scratched my mic.
I heard that.
Sorry.
But yeah, I am heavily on Encanto TikTok.
Same.
Especially Bruno teaching the rats Broadway musicals.
Yes.
Annoying the crap out of Dolores TikTok.
Yes. And I love in the background, if we don't talk about Bruno, when he's just like jamming out.
Yes, that is one of my favorite songs in this movie. I love that and Waiting on a Miracle.
So hard.
All of the songs are great. So what I was mad about earlier that I said is recently it was announced, I am reading it off of my phone, that 15 songs will advance in the original song category for the 94th Academy Awards. And one of them is an Encanto song. But it's not a song that I don't think should be on it. You saw it too? How do you pronounce it? It's the song that the grandfather sings when Abuela and
oruguitas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
it means 2 caterpillars.
Yes.
And honestly, I understand why.
Like, I understand why.
Lyrics, it's just the lyrics are beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I found this out. If you're watching it and you have the English subtitles on, they subtitle the song in English.
It made me cry.
And if you read the subtitles, while you're watching the movie, they will make you sob violently. Like,
yes.
Like, seriously, I was ugly crying.
It's the least catchy song. Like, it's my most skipped, if any, on the Encanto soundtrack.
Well,
so
yeah, because it's the slow song. It's not the one you can, like, jam out to in the car.
No, but usually they choose a jam out to in the car song.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's just so pretty. And it's one of the only songs that's in Spanish, which I like.
True.
I like that. But I also think, I mean, from what I remember from the video I saw about this, sorry. I remember there being something like, there can be 2 songs from a film in one category.
Yes.
I think.
And
so they could have...
Be Our Guest and Beauty and the Beast were like that. Where both of them were nominated for the same.
Yeah. So I think that had they submitted another song, I think it would have been okay.
Same.
But
which they might have. Because there were 84 songs that were eligible to go forth.
It just might not have been chosen.
Yeah.
So, but from what I remember, they only submitted that one.
Okay. Interesting.
I just watched this video this morning, actually. No, this morning? Yesterday. So
the only other song on this list that I've even listened to is the song that's in the Dear Evan Hansen movie that they add. That's on this list.
Yeah.
Well, the Anonymous ones? It's called The Anonymous Ones. It's a really pretty song.
Sounds like it. The first thing that came to hit my mind was the Guilty Ones from Spring Awakening.
So it's a song that's sung by, I forget the character's name, but it's the class president girl.
Alana?
Yeah, Alana. And it was...
I think I remember something about this.
Yeah. And it was written with the actor who played Alana's help.
I remember this.
Yeah. It's a pretty song. I feel like the Encanto song will win. It's just, I wish it was another one that made it through as well.
Yeah, I agree. But I really like this. I understand the choice.
I understand the choice.
I feel like it's
made me sad.
I feel like they weren't expecting We Don't Talk About Bruno to blow up the way it did. Especially, like, with the memes. The memes, you guys, are so good. If you just click on the song in TikTok, the memes.
It's the most trending song on TikTok right now.
It's the most trending song of January of 2022.
I was talking to Kara earlier this week, telling her that my Apple Music Rewind is going to be so messed up because of this movie.
Same. Well, mine is going to be messed up because all of December, all I listened to was Nashville. All I listened to was Cast of Nashville. So we'll see how that turns out. But
all I've listened to
seriously,
since
this
soundtrack
movie
came out was this soundtrack.
Yeah, no, because We Don't Talk About Bruno is the #1 song right now. #1 in all categories.
Yeah.
Because it slaps that hard. But I'm sure they weren't expecting it to go that hard.
Oh, no. I think they were expecting, like, Surface Pressure to be banger.
Nah, it's good. But it's not. It's nothing.
No, I think that is what they were trying.
Yeah.
Because that was the song that everyone talked about in the beginning.
Yeah. And then they were all, We Don't Talk About Bruno, though.
Yeah.
Which also,
I read something about Surface Pressure, and Lynn wrote it for his sister, his older sister, like about her.
Oh,
I read, which made me sad.
Yeah, that's really sad.
Another moment in a song. Well, you're thinking of what your train of thought was. One of my favorite moments is when the family at the end of the movie does the whole, we see how bright you are, we see how brave you've been, now see yourself in turn, you're the real one, kid, let us in. And she brings back the magic.
And Antonio brings her the knob, and it has the M on it. Ah!
And he holds her hand like he does during the gift ceremony, which is another one of my favorite scenes.
Oh,
where he
that one
says,
was so good.
I need you.
I need you. Oh.
Also,
I was crushed.
Speaking of that moment, the family is so crap to her during that ceremony. They forget her in the family picture.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I watched this movie with my grandma, and at the end of the movie, she goes, I don't get that movie. And I was like, why don't you get it? And she was like, I don't get why they're all so mean to the little girl. What did she do? I don't get it. And she, truth be told, she was like half asleep through half the movie. So I kind of had to like re-explain it to her.
Yeah.
And sometimes she has a hard time like understanding the plots of movies. Just, she has a hard time following things like I do.
Yeah.
But literally every like 5 minutes, I was like, I get that reference. My family does that. Oh, okay. Like, I was sobbing. Like,
yeah.
I was crying throughout most of this movie. Like,
Same.
Okay, I love that we don't talk about Bruno. Like, the whole premise is we don't talk about him, but we do.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a thing. Like, especially in Latin culture, like, you announce that you don't talk about something, but like when you're like behind closed doors and when like everybody's like has their back turned, you talk about it all the time. Like that's something we'd even do in my family. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I agree.
It's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's that thing we don't talk about. But then, like, when nobody's around, we're like, so let's talk about that thing really quick.
I agree that does happen in my family,
yeah.
too.
Yeah. So, yeah. I think that's why that one was kind of one of my favorite songs. But I also love What Else Can I Do?
Yes. I love that song, too.
It's so good.
The songs in this movie are
it's
so
just
good.
So good. Okay, the reason I love What Else Can I Do so much is because just the colors are so pretty.
The other side of Encanto TikTok I'm on is Isabella is part of the LGBTQ in some way community.
I saw a few of those videos, and then I saw this other video about it, and that kind of shared my feelings about it. Like,
I saw the video that I think you're talking about that, like, is like, hey, like, let's not make it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Like, I get it. It's great to have representation. Like, I love being represented by this movie just because I love it. You know?
Yeah.
I love this movie so much. It really hit me on a deeper level. And I don't know. I think I liked that it didn't follow the traditional narrative of pretty girl, pretty guy, the family wants them together, they want to be together. But they were actually doing it for their family, which happens a lot, actually.
It does.
Like, it's a lot more common than people think, where, like, people get married to other people because their families want them to get married, not really because they want to.
Yeah.
So, like, I liked that it, like, became a moment where Dolores finally got her moment, you know, because she and Isabella are supposed to be the same age.
Yes, I have hold on, I sent it to Sean a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's like
the age gap of everyone.
Yeah, like Dolores and Isabella are the same age.
Sure, yeah, they're both 22. So Isabella and Dolores are 22. Luisa is 19. Mirabel and Camilo, are 15, and Antonio is 5, and then Bruno, Peppa, Julieta, Augustine, and Felix are all 50, and then Abuela Alma is 75.
Yeah. So, I think it's really nice that, like, they have this moment, like, where, you know, like, you hear Dolores sing in We Don't Talk About Bruno, like, oh, I was always told that the man of my dreams would always be just out of reach, right? Betrothed to another. And then she, like, she gets to be the girl who gets him at the end, you know? She gets that guy that she wants. And, like, Isabella isn't, like, trapped in this, like, thing that she doesn't really want. And so, like, I don't know. I see how, like, people could read LGBT into that. And, like, I kind of thought that, too, not gonna lie. I was, like, seriously thinking that they were gonna have her be like, I'm gay. But, like, that's not really what the story's about.
No.
You know? The story is about accepting your family and loving each other for who you are, like, and it's, like, not really about that.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I don't know. I feel like it would have just been, like, a little egregious had they thrown that in. That's a good word for it. I think it would have been egregious. So, anyway.
I love Dolores.
I do too.
She's my favorite character.
I love the memes of her not being able to sleep because all she hears are Bruno's telenovelas.
She has to have a soundproof room. Like, each one of them has, like, their own special room. Her room has to be soundproof.
But then how could she hear Luisa's eye twitching all night?
True.
Maybe the room just, like, lets her hear certain things, but not everything.
Yeah.
That would be convenient.
Who is Bruno, and what did he do to Disney?
Yeah.
First Luca.
Yeah, with Silencio Bruno.
Yes.
And now, we don't talk about him? Why?
Both in 2021 as well.
Yeah, maybe we don't talk about him because you silenced him.
I watched a theory on the Super Carlin Brothers channel today talking about Alberto's father in Luca being Bruno.
Being Bruno? Oh my god. I think that's a little bit of a stretch.
It was.
That's a little bit of a stretch for me.
It was. Especially because one takes place in Italy.
And one takes place in Colombia.
But Alberto's father or mother does have to be a what are they? The, like, water monster people.
Yeah. I don't remember what they're called. I haven't seen that movie in ages.
Yeah. But, like, she has to be at least part that in order for him to have it.
What if that's his gift?
But it's also disproven very quickly by Dolores being
sure.
like, oh yeah, I heard him every day.
Yeah, I'm sure. Have you seen... okay, we need to move on. But really quick, have you seen that meme of that girl who was, like, dressed up as Dolores? And she was like, hey, no, what I was just talking about, when I hear him now, no, I literally hear him now. Oh, that's so sweet. You can hear him, like, he had such a profound impact on you. No, I literally hear him singing in the walls about his rats. Oh, that's so sweet. You remember him so fondly. No, he is here.
Ratatouille.
Yeah, he's literally here in the building. Oh, yeah, his spirit's watching over us. Oh, my God. No. Have you seen that?
Yes, I have.
That one's so good. So good. Okay, we need to move on.
So,
really quick, what do you rate it out of 10?
100.
100 out of 10?
Or 10 out of 10. 100. Whatever.
I agree.
What do you think Rotten Tomatoes critic and audience score is?
I don't even want to know.
It's real good.
Okay. Critics, 95.
Okay.
Audience, 98.
So the critic score is a 91%.
That's it?
And the audience score is a 93%.
That's it? Not high enough.
Oh wait, never mind. I was about to say, I will say that all of them are in the 90s today. And then I looked at the other two we're covering, and they're not in the 90s. So ignore that.
Okay.
Well, at least one of the two scores for both of them are in the 90s. So yeah.
Okay.
So our next one is another Lin-Manuel Miranda thing.
Yeah, he directed it, though. He didn't do any of the music, because the music already existed.
True.
Which is why none of this was eligible for an Oscar.
Mm-hmm. So this is Tick, Tick, Boom, which the synopsis is on the cusp of his 30th birthday, a promising young theater composer, Jonathan Larson navigates love, friendship, and the pressures of life as an artist in New York City. It was directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it came out last year, 2021, on Netflix.
It sounds weird hearing 2021 was last year.
I know. The cast includes Andrew Garfield as Jonathan Larson, Alexandra Shipp as Susan.
Really quick, Andrew Garfield as Jonathan Larson is literally perfect, because if you put up photos of them side by side, they are nearly identical. It is nuts how similar Andrew Garfield looks to Jonathan Larson.
So, Andrew Garfield as Jonathan Larson, Alexandra Shipp as Susan, Robin DeJesus as Michael, Vanessa Hudgens as Carissa, Joshua Henry as Roger, Jonathan Mark Sherman as Ira Witzman, Michaela J. Rodriguez as Carolyn, Ben Levi Ross as Freddie, Judith Light as Rosa Stevens, and Bradley Whitford as the late Stephen Sondheim.
I know.
Ugh. He passed, 2 weeks after this one came out? Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
It was, because he passed away 2 weeks after this came out, but 2 weeks before West Side Story came out.
Okay, so yeah. Also, didn't he pass literally the week after they renamed one of the Broadway theaters after him?
Yes.
Or wasn't it like that week?
I think so. It was. Yeah. It's the theater that the Mrs. Doubtfire musical is now in.
Yeah. It used to be, I don't even know.
I don't know.
Hence why they renamed it the Stephen Sondheim Theater. Duh.
Yes. So I will do the second fun facts because it's very long. You can do the first one.
I honestly love the fun facts for this movie. I also have another fun fact about this one. So after these ones, I have to add my own because I know a lot about this movie because I know way too much about Jonathan Larson. Like, I love Rent, and I love Jonathan Larson.
I know you love Rent. I love your Mimi cosplay.
Thanks. So after deciding on Andrew Garfield for the lead role, Lin-Manuel Miranda didn't really know if he could sing, though. That's kind of a problem. He was like, okay, Andrew Garfield, oh, wait, can you sing? So he asked a mutual friend, Greg Mealy, if Garfield actually could sing, to which he said that Andrew had, quote, the voice of an angel. After Miranda left, Mealy called Garfield and actually asked him if he could sing, to which Garfield was like, eh.
Yes.
Kinda.
And then the other fun fact is the Sunday Diner musical number contains many Broadway legends, old and new, including Joel Grey, Cheetah Rivera, Andre DeShields, Bebe Neuwirth, Brian Stokes Mitchell, Howard McGillen, Felicia Rashad, and Beth Malone. Hamilton original Broadway cast members Renee Elise Goldsberry, Philippa Sue, and Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Duh.
Rent original Broadway... What?
Duh. Of course Lin-Manuel Miranda's gonna be in it.
Rent original Broadway cast members Adam Pascal, Daphne Rubin Vega, and Wilson Jermaine.
It's Jermaine.
Jermaine.
Heredia.
Wilson Jermaine Heredia.
Do you want to try that again? Yeah.
Yes. And Sunday in the Park with George's original Dot, Bernadette Peters.
Yes. Bernadette Peters is like Stephen Sondheim's... Okay, Bernadette Peters and Stephen Sondheim are like Lin-Manuel Miranda and Chris Jackson. Like, they did everything together.
Or Tim Burton and Johnny Depp.
Yeah, and Helena
Bonham Carter. Or Tim Burton and Helena Bonham Carter.
Yeah. Yeah. So, really quick, in case you don't know, like, some of these people are like what they're from, Andre DeShields is most notably known as Hermes in Hades Town right now.
But he was also the wizard in The Wiz.
Yes, he was also the wizard in The Wiz, which is like, that was his claim to fame.
Yes. And Joel Grey was also the wizard.
Yeah.
But in Wicked.
In Wicked.
The original Broadway cast.
Yeah. Brian Stokes Mitchell was in a ton of stuff. But I most notably know him from Ragtime, which is a beautiful show if you've never listened to it. It is gorgeous.
Who else?
I'm like trying to think. Cheetah Rivera, she was in like freaking everything.
Yeah.
She was in so much. Like, she was in, let's see, West Side Story. She was in, was she in Evita?
Think so. She was in Chicago.
She was in Chicago, yeah. Like, she's in a lot of stuff. Also, another fun fact, Renee Elise Goldsberry also performed in Rent. She was in the closing cast of Rent. So you have the opening Mimi and the closing Mimi, which I think is so cool.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm trying to see if she was in Vita, which it's not coming up on her IMDb that she was. Cheetah Rivera.
Not the movie, the musical.
Yeah, I'm looking at the musical.
Oh. Okay, never mind. Just kidding. Cheetah Rivera
but only has some of her credits, not all of them.
Okay. But, so she was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it's very cool that they have the opening cast of Mimi, and they also have the last, like the first Mimi ever to be on Broadway, and the last one to ever be on Broadway.
Yeah. So my mom and I watched this movie together during winter break. Or was it Thanksgiving break? It was one of those two. And it was just her and I downstairs, and we were watching this number, and she's like, wait a second, that's Cheetah Rivera. I was like, wait a second, that's Andre DeShields. So then I looked it up, and I saw that all these people were in it. So we made a game of playing, like, Where's Waldo with the Broadway legends.
I did the same thing. I was watching it. I was like, hey, that's Andre DeShields. Hey, that's Brian Stokes Mitchell. Hey, that's Renee Elise Goldsberry and Philippa Sue. Hey.
Yeah. Which I liked having all of the Broadway legends.
I did too.
Don't like the song.
I agree. I think the song is kind of boring.
The song, yeah, it's gorgeous because it's all these famous Broadway legends singing it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
No, I agree. Like, okay, here's the thing. Jonathan Larson's work, ever since he died, has become, like, you don't touch it. It's, like, one of those things, you know, that's, like, in theater that's, like you don't change
like
Sondheim.
Ghost light.
Yeah, like, it's, like, one of those things where it's, like, I don't know, there are just, like, certain rules about doing theater. And, like, as you learn about theater and as you participate in it, you just kind of know. Like, one of them is, like, you don't touch other people's props. That's just something you don't do.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's just, everybody knows.
The Scottish play.
Yeah, you don't say the name Macbeth in a theater.
Yes.
Some people take it as far as not saying it at all.
That's me.
That's a little extreme for me. I think just in a theater.
I can
whistling in a theater is another one.
If I'm in a Shakespeare class and we're covering it.
Yeah. But other than that,
I've been in 2 casts where it was said and bad things happened. So I, like, do not touch that word.
Yeah, I try not to. Honestly, it, like, every time
it's
I see
like
it, I get
Grinch
a little bit of
me.
the heebie-jeebies.
It's like the Grinch to me. You don't touch it with a 9-foot pole.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. But there are just certain rules about theater, and one of them is, like, you don't touch Jonathan Larson's work. That's why Rent is so long.
Yes.
And so eclectic and all over the place. First of all, that's just because how Jonathan Larson wrote. Like, literally, if you listen to the soundtrack of Tick, Tick, Boom, it sounds like you're listening to 12 different shows.
Oh, yeah.
But, like...
let me tell you. So, when I was, I think, 11 or 12, Idina Menzel did her giant concert that she did back, like, right when the first Frozen came out. Like, 2013, 2014.
For If Then, right?
I think it was for If Then. But I got tickets to see that. And I remember her doing a little spiel about Jonathan Larson before singing a song because, and I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but the day that Rent opened on Broadway was the day that Jonathan Larson passed.
Yeah. And it's so sad. He was taken from us way too early.
He was.
And the sad thing is, it's not anything that could have been, like, prevented.
Yeah.
Like, kind of, but, like, not
if he was
really.
diagnosed early, it would have been prevented.
Yeah, but, like, even then, I've, like, read a bunch of articles, not a bunch of articles, but quite a few articles about it that were, like, even if he was diagnosed early, like, probably now he would have been fine.
Yeah.
But back then, there was, like, okay, well, like, you could take medication for it, but, like, there's still a good chance that, like, I don't remember exactly what it was that he had.
Yeah.
But, basically he had a condition that made him really susceptible to aortic aneurysms. And that's eventually what took his life, which is really unfortunate. But, you know, watching the opening cast of Rent talk about Jonathan Larson, like, as a person is, like, so touching. I, like, every time I watch them talk about it, I cry.
Same.
And, like,
another thing I do want to mention is 4 days ago, Jonathan Larson's father, Alan Larson, passed away.
Aw, that's really sad.
I saw that news, and I think I read somewhere, and I'm looking it up right now, but it said something about how he, like, helped Lin-Manuel Miranda get John right for the movie.
That's good. I love that. I love that. 'Cause that's
so
so
I'm
important.
glad that he got to see this movie at least before.
Yeah.
Oh, he and his wife, after Jonathan Larson's passing in 1996, they started the Jonathan Larson Performing Arts Foundation from 1997 to 2008, which granted grants to musical theater composers, lyricists, and book writers.
Yeah. Yeah. They were really cool. And I think it's really beautiful, like, the kind of impact that he had on the theater community.
We would not have Hamilton.
No, we wouldn't. He really perfected the, like, rock musical.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it's I really like that Tick Tick Boom gets his story out there. And I like that it has become a lot more mainstream. Now, honestly, it's not my favorite. I'm not gonna lie, it's not my favorite musical. But
it's not my favorite musical, but I like it for it telling the story that we never knew of Jonathan Larson.
Exactly. I like it.
Like, nowadays, we only think of him for making Rent.
Yeah.
We don't see his failures pre-Rent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's really nice. Plus, I don't know, I just really like it.
Same.
For what it is.
Also,
not that, like, it's definitely not in my top 10. I might pull some audition songs from it, but then, you know what? Everybody's gonna start pulling audition songs from it.
Yeah.
Which sucks for the people who had it in their book 10 years ago.
Yeah, it really does.
Like, could you imagine how many girls just had to pull Come to Your Senses out of their book?
I know, right?
Like, I have an audition for In the Heights next month, and I know half of the girls are going to walk in there with Come to Your Senses.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed. And Burn. That's the other one.
You know what you're going to sing yet?
I'm figuring it out still.
Okay. Yeah, like, going back to we wouldn't have Hamilton without it, there's this weird, like, timeline where if we don't have, it's either Roger or Hammerstein. If we don't have them, we don't have Sondheim. And without Sondheim, we don't have Jonathan Larson. And without Jonathan Larson, we don't have Lin-Manuel Miranda. Mm-hmm. And speaking of Stephen Sondheim, his voice is in the movie. Like, Stephen Sondheim's voice.
That was the first thing I was thinking of. I beat you to it. That's the one I was thinking of. I couldn't remember.
So, in the final moment, or one of the final moments of the film, we see Jonathan Larson listening to, like, his voicemail. And it's Stephen Sondheim talking to Jonathan Larson's voicemail.
About Superbia.
About Superbia. And that was Stephen Sondheim.
Mm-hmm. Which I think is a very sweet, full circle moment. I watched this after Stephen Sondheim died.
Same. I think I watched it Yes, I watched it during winter break, and it was the first thing I watched after coming home that, like, Saturday night.
Yeah.
So it was right after he passed.
I think it's a very nice, full circle moment. If you, like, watching it in the context of what's happened in the last few weeks and of all of the people that have died in the last month.
Which I almost sent you a TikTok that terrified me yesterday. I forget who it was, but it had the Harry Potter music under it, and it had Maggie Smith. Did you see this TikTok?
I saw this.
We'll
talk about this in a minute.
This guy.
We'll talk about this in a minute. When we get to the last
okay.
bit. Yeah, we'll talk about it then.
Okay. But yeah, like, so many people died at the end of last year. Sondheim, Betty White.
I know. I saw that and I was like, oh my god.
She was almost there.
17 days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're taking a really sad turn.
I know. So it was always going to end up this way with Jonathan Larson.
Yeah, because Jonathan Larson, like, it always gets really sad.
I have a fun fact that I learned at a little Adam Pascal workshop I went to.
I love Adam Pascal. He's so nice.
Yes.
I met him.
So during the workshop,
go ahead.
I went to, he was talking about how so he never did a musical until Rent. Like, his first show was Rent. I don't know how many people realize this. And after high school, he tried, like, his rock band thing, and that never went anywhere. And his childhood best friend, Idina Menzel, childhood best friend.
Just casual.
Was like, hey, we're having trouble casting this role. I think you'd be perfect. He's an ex-rock star guy.
And he's like, oh.
And he auditioned and got the part of Roger.
Yeah. Anthony Rapp and Adam Pascal are two of the nicest guys.
Oh my gosh. We can't, like, there's no nicer guys than them.
They are so nice. I met them at a concert that they did here a long time ago.
Yeah.
But, after I was like, we got to meet them and take photos with them. And I was like, like, Rent is one of my favorite shows ever. Like, my dream is to be Mimi one day. I am determined. That is my end goal. If I, like, never do theater again, if I got to play Mimi once, like, that would be it. Like, my life I would be fulfilled.
Yeah.
So
I remember a community theater had just had auditions for Rent, and the day of the Adam Pascal workshop was the day that everyone was getting their call of like, hey, we want to offer you. So my friend Richard, it was like it was like the school edition of Rent, but like they don't really change that much in it besides like one thing.
Which I don't like.
I know.
I don't like the school edition of Rent. This goes against the rules of not changing Jonathan Larson, and that bothers me.
I agree. This theater ever since has done Rent like 5 times, like the full version of Rent.
Good.
With their adult cast. They haven't done it with their high school cast since.
No.
But my friend Richard, he was able to like go up to Adam Pascal and be like, hey, I'm playing Roger. Any tips?
That's cool.
And the girl who played Mimi, her name is Brie, which I love Brie. She's an amazing performer. She's like, hey, I just got cast as Mimi. Any tips?
That's my
It was
dream
just the
right there.
Sweetest thing. Also, another actor that I want to mention about this movie in particular is Joshua Henry. Who does he play again? He plays... What?
I don't know.
Roger. He plays Roger. I don't know who Roger is supposed to be in real life. But he plays Roger. I got to see him in one of the last performances of Waitress. He was Dr. Prometer.
Yeah. I like
in
that
the
show.
closing cast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hold on. I want to see if Roger is supposed to be anyone in Jonathan's life.
I think he was.
I think so too.
I don't think it's Roger the way we see him. But, you know.
Yeah.
The one thing I did really like about watching this movie is I loved watching it and being like, I got that reference. Like, all of the references that he put in Rent.
So it's Roger Bart is who he was.
Who?
He performed... hold on. Let's make sure this is right. Yeah. He performed the song Go the Distance from the 1997 animated film Hercules.
Oh! I knew that name. I didn't remember why.
That Roger Bart. He was Snoopy and You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
Yeah, he's good.
He was just in the Hercules tryout for Broadway as Hades. So, like, young Hercules from the original movie
plays
playing Hades
now.
And right now, he's on the West End in the Back to the Future musical as Dr. Emmett Brown.
I don't know how I feel about that either.
I don't like it.
There's too many movie musical adaptations. Don't get me wrong, a few of them are pretty good. But I think just everybody's doing it right now. And I'm like, you know what? Not every movie needs to be a musical.
Yeah. I mean, Waitress was a movie.
Yeah, but I think they improved on it. Like, nobody really knew the movie of Waitress.
No.
Like, a few people did, but not a lot.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Do you want to do the other fact about Superbia?
Oh, why it's not on the soundtrack?
Yes, which makes me sad, but I understand now with the fact that you put it.
Because Emma's favorite song is Superbia, which I have realized that this is like one of the most polarizing songs in this entire thing. You either love it or you hate it. And I'm in the camp that I don't like it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay,
I think
so
it's
not
annoying.
like my absolute favorite. I love the montage with it.
I do like the montage is fine, but
yeah,
I don't know. I don't like this song.
Also, can we just talk about how much my mom and I were like, wow, that is real life when they were describing the plot of Superbia?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But okay, so the reason Superbia isn't like on the soundtrack anywhere, like it's so hard to find. And the reason like you can't do it, first of all, is because it's unfinished. It's not a complete work. Yeah. So even if you wanted to, you would have to finish it, which like ruins the sanctity of Superbia. And it's a Jonathan Larson thing. You don't touch it. So yeah, that's one reason, first of all. But the second reason is because it actually belongs to the Library of Congress. Because when Jonathan Larson died in 1996, his entire collection of unproduced and unfinished works was donated to the Library of Congress. So that's why, like, it's not really there. I'm not quite sure about this, but I'm pretty sure. You have to get, like, special permission to be able to use it for stuff.
Wow.
From them. Don't quote me on that, though. I'm not quite sure. So, there's also an album called Jonathan Sings Larson from 2007. And it's all of the unreleased, like, raw recordings of just Jonathan Larson singing some of some songs that he wrote. Some of them are from Superbia. Some of them are from other works that haven't been finished. I think there's 1 or 2 of the original demos from Rent.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's what that is. There's also an album called The Jonathan Larson Project, which was a CD that was released in 2019 that was originally a concert, and it was entirely made up of Larson's unheard and unfinished works, Superbia being one of them. So the script for Superbia is also in the Library of Congress, and if you'd like to read it, you can, but like I mentioned before, it's unfinished, and finishing it is like sacrilege to theater people.
Yeah.
He also, okay, the reason he started writing Superbia, it's believed, it's not confirmed, but it's believed, is because he also has, in the Library of Congress, there's also a work that's a musical starting. It's like the starting of an adaptation of George Orwell's 1984. He's the one who wrote 1984, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I haven't read 1984 ever, so.
Me neither. Let me check.
Yep, George Orwell.
Okay, cool. So he wanted to start writing a musical adaptation of George Orwell's 1984, but he couldn't get the rights to it. So it's believed that that's what served as the inspiration for Superbia. So that became like in the back of his mind, he was thinking 1984 while he was writing Superbia.
Okay.
If you want to hear Jonathan Larson sing, which is amazing, on the original Broadway soundtrack of Tick, Tick, Boom, he performs Boho Days at the very end of the soundtrack.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's really good. I've been trying to learn all the words, but it's hard.
Yeah.
There is too many names.
You know that Lin-Manuel Miranda in an off-Broadway production of Tick, Tick, Boom played Jonathan?
Yes. There are videos.
I found this out after he directed it.
Yeah. There are videos on the internet of it. And honestly, I don't get it. No. But also, if you listen to the original Broadway cast, Raul Esparza, who played Jonathan in the original Broadway cast, who is District Attorney, oh my gosh, what's his name? Oh, he is on SVU. Oh my gosh. What is his name? Barba. District Attorney Barba. That's his name. He plays the original Jonathan Larson, which, first of all, I didn't even know he could sing. I was like, I know you from Law & Order. What the heck are you doing here, Raul Esparza? And then he sings, and you're like, whoa. I didn't even know he could sing in the first place. And then you start listening to the soundtrack, and you realize, oh my gosh, he can sing. And then you listen to it more, and you're like, wow, he really sounds like Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was like,
maybe that's why Lin got cast.
That's what I was thinking. I was listening to it, and I was like, Lin? Is this Lin-Manuel Miranda? What is going on? So, yeah. That's my little rant about that. I'm done now.
I would rate it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. Same. Definitely not my favorite musical. Definitely not my favorite Jonathan Larson musical.
No.
But for what it is, there's some good bangers in there. No More is pretty cool. Green Dress has been stuck in my head all day.
Yeah, same.
Which, I think they did Green Dress dirty in the movie.
Same.
45 seconds of Green Dress. That song is 3 minutes long. And it's good. Anyway, moving on. The last one, we're going to split this cast list up. This is huge.
Wait, do you want to guess the critic and audience score on Rotten Tomatoes for Tick, Tick, Boom?
Yeah, sure, I guess.
Okay.
So, okay. I think the critic score is like an 85. And I think the audience score is like a 90.
So the critic score is an 88% certified fresh.
Pretty close.
And the audience score is a 96%.
Wow.
Yeah.
I thought people were going to think this was too weird.
Obviously not.
Clearly not. I don't know. I like it, but it's a little, like I said, it's a little all over the place, and some people don't like that.
Yes. So the last thing we're going to talk about is the Return to Hogwarts 20th Anniversary Harry Potter special, and a quick synopsis is cast members from all Harry Potter films reunite in a retrospective special to celebrate the anniversary of the first film, including interviews and cast conversations. It was directed by Aaron Creevy, Joe Perlman, and Giorgio Testi, and it came out actually on January 1st of 2022. And the cast includes, and this is in order on IMDb, and I hate how they listed some of these actors.
Honestly, me too. Also, that's not half. Splitting it at Mark Williams is not half.
Okay, Chris Columbus?
That's half, yeah.
Okay. So the cast includes Emma Watson as Self. She played Hermione.
Okay.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Let's preface this whole thing by saying everybody is as themselves. We're just going to tell you who they played.
Okay. So Emma Watson, who played Hermione Granger. Daniel Radcliffe, who played Harry Potter. Ralph Fiennes, who played Voldemort. Gary Oldman, who played Sirius Black. Helena Bonham Carter, who played Bellatrix. Bonnie Wright, who played Ginny Weasley. Ivana Lynch, who played Luna Lovegood. Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius Malfoy. Tom Felton, who played Draco Malfoy. Rupert Grint, who played Ron Weasley. That's why I'm mad. Matthew Lewis, who played Neville Longbottom. Robbie Coltrane, who played Hagrid. And Chris Columbus, who is the director of The Sorcerer's Stone.
It also included Imelda Staunton as who played Umbridge. Alfred, oh gosh, how do you say his last name? Enoch? I don't know. Alfred Enoch, or Enoch, however you say his last name, who played Dean Thomas. Ian Hart, who played Professor Quirrell. James Phelps, who played Fred Weasley. Mark Williams, who played Arthur Weasley. Oliver Phelps, who played George Weasley. J.K. Rowling, who was the author of Harry Potter.
In archive footage.
Yes. These are all archive footage. From J.K. Rowling on is all archive footage. Kenneth Branagh, who played Gilderoy Lockhart. Michael Gambon, who played Dumbledore from
Prisoner of Azkaban.
I thought he played it from everything after Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, so Prisoner of Azkaban.
Oh, yeah. From Prisoner of Azkaban on. Richard Harris, who played Dumbledore for Sorcerer's Stone and Chamber of Secrets. Rhys Ifans as Xenophilius Lovegood. Helen McCroy, who was Narcissa Malfoy. Alan Rickman, who was Severus Snape. Maggie Smith, who was Professor McGonagall. And David, oh gosh, I always mess up his last name. Thulis? How do you say it? Thulis? I always say it wrong. Okay. And David Thulis, who played Professor Lupin, which, again, I hate the way that they ordered this. This is so infuriating.
Okay, I'm sorry, but the main trio should be the first three.
Yeah,
IMDb.
And it has to go Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint.
Yes.
That's how you do it. Done.
I wish they actually got Maggie Smith.
Honestly, same.
Also Warwick Davis.
Yes.
Because those two were also from the beginning with those guys.
Yeah. And got to watch the kids grow up. And then, okay, did you see that thing about Maggie Smith that you were talking about earlier? So I know you saw it.
Yes. So this person terrified me last night. Or yesterday morning. Joke. I was scrolling through TikTok yesterday morning, just like trying to start my day on a good note. I've had a very stressful week.
Girl, yesterday, I saw this like 3 days ago.
I saw this yesterday. I got mad. It might have been Tuesday. It was either Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. But it had the like slow Harry Potter music, and this guy is like Maggie, famed actress Maggie Smith, just days after famed actress Betty White passed. passed away, woke up in her London house, but he paused. And it terrified me.
He was like,
because I thought that's how I was going to find out that Maggie Smith was dead.
I know. No, he was like, just days after the 20th anniversary Harry Potter special and the death of beloved famed actress Betty White, Maggie Smith woke up in her UK home. And it was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna kill you. Like, oh, I was so upset. I was like, what?
That's how I started yesterday off. My, like, terrible day that I had yesterday that you know about that I don't really want to get into too much detail. Yeah, that's how my day started.
Yeah, and it just got downhill from
there. Was that
there.
video.
Yeah. That video was so terrible.
Yeah.
Also, I don't like, at the beginning of the special, what was the choice? What was the choice?
Why did they start with Emma, Matthew, and Robbie?
I don't know.
What was the choice there? It should have started with the Hogwarts Express.
Yes. Also,
what was the choice with having all the Weasleys except for Ron, who was at the special there?
Yeah. I was like, what in the heck?
I think it's because Rupert wasn't there for very long, because you only see him in 2 spots on set. Because he just had a kid last year.
Which, good for him. But also, sad. Like, why?
Yeah. Also, why weren't Rupert and Dan invited to the ball beginning sequence?
Right? I was like, where the heck are they? And then part of me was like, what if this is like some big elaborate joke to like, that they were just sitting in the corner the whole time?
Yeah.
Like, Emma was the star, and they were just, like, sitting off in a corner. They were like, yeah, we'll get to you. Go away.
Oh, yeah, they definitely chose to have her be the big star of this.
Yeah, which, like, is good. Like, good for her. Like, she's the one she's, like, one of the main
She's the one who's
really
done
continued.
the most big things since Potter.
Yeah. But, like, what the heck? It made no sense. Like,
I agree. I was texting Sean that I was starting it. And then I was like, they started it off really weird because they chose 3 actors that I like. If you have to have that scene of them like getting the Hogwarts letters for the special, it should have been Dan, Rupert, and Emma.
Yeah, like
not Matthew, Lewis,
it made no
Robbie
sense to
Coltrane,
me, like,
and Emma.
Yeah, but like, I mean, they worked with what they were given, you know.
Yeah.
So, there's part of me that's like,
also,
we can't be too hard on them.
Also, I love the audition story, speaking of Emma, that Tom says. Do you remember it?
It's been a few days.
Okay, so they're talking about how they were, like, auditioning for the first movie, so Sorcerer's Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Which he was still auditioning for Harry Potter at the time. Like, not even Draco Malfoy yet. Harry Potter. And they're filming them, so, you know, they have the boom mic above them.
Yes.
And he's talking about how this little girl was like, what's that? And he went, it's a boom mic, duh. And the only reason he remembers that story is because it was Emma Watson.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably what got him Draco Malfoy.
Yes, that is definitely why he got Draco over Harry. Was that interaction he had with Emma.
Yeah. Yeah. Really quick. It made me cry when Emma, oh gosh, who was it?
Emma, Bonnie, and Ivana hugging on the Hogwarts Express.
Yes.
That's when I cried. That's when I started to cry. I was like, damn. This
I was like, wow, they
me.
really hit me in the feels right now. My 3 favorite girls all together and hugging. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Also, I love whenever they were like, oh, look, a bunch of Gryffindors, to, like, when Tom walked in and it was Matthew and whatever, the guy who played Dean Thomas?
Yeah, him.
Yeah, Dean Thomas.
Which,
them hanging out.
I had kind of a bone to pick about this, because he was the guy who, like, threw the ball at the Rose Bowl game. The guy who
Dean
played
Thomas?
Dean Thomas. Yeah. I was like,
why?
What? I was like, why? That was my first thought. I was like, okay, maybe it's like as an advertisement for like the thing. Okay, fine. But then I was like, really? You couldn't get anybody else? And then I was also like, okay, he was there from the beginning and like he grew up with them and stuff, but like he wasn't that big part of a story. I was like, when they announced him, I was like, who the heck is this guy?
Honestly, same. I was like, I know you're one of the like 3 people of color in this thing, male people of color in this movie, but which one were you?
Yeah, no, it's like Dean Thomas had
I think I texted Sean that it was Lee Jordan and not Dean Thomas at some point when I was watching it.
But yeah, like they made him like a huge thing at the Rose Bowl parade. Like, who was it? Oh, it was, oh gosh, what's his name? That country guy who sang at the parade, like threw the ball for the Rose Bowl game to Dean Thomas. It was obviously CGI. He didn't throw it. Like they were in 2 different parts of Pasadena.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Rose Bowl Stadium is like miles away from where they do the parade. So, but anyway, like...
Also, there are Harry Potter actors that now live in the U.S. I know Matthew Lewis now lives in Orlando.
Yeah.
Fun fact. Because his wife worked at Universal Orlando as like one of the events coordinators for all the Potter events that he would always go to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how he and his wife met, and it's really cute.
Yeah,
and I know people that like while they were working, he came into like whatever fast food or like store they work at. And it was just Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
Which is why he's at like every Orlando convention that you can go to. He's always there. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Same with Ashley Eckstein, because they're like the only 2 that like really live in Orlando.
Orlando? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you could just find her walking around at Disney World.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I thought it was really weird to see Robbie Coltrane, like, not as Hagrid.
I know.
I was like, who is this? And then, like, they showed clips of him, and I was like, Hagrid! And then they, like, cut back to him talking, and I was like, who is this person talking? This is not Hagrid. But it is.
Yeah. Also, I love that he was such, like, a big mentor to Emma.
Yeah.
Like, during her first big acting piece, which was in Chamber, when she's just been called a mudblood, Hermione has, and it's her saying that to Hagrid and the gang, and him being there supporting her.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
They couldn't have done this special without Robbie.
Oh, no, he carried this whole special, like...
Yes.
No, but okay, I really loved hearing all of the actors talk about, like, talk about Chris Columbus and the other directors. That's weird that they didn't include the other directors.
Yeah, again, IMDb made me mad.
IMDb, not a homie G today.
I also did this a few weeks ago a few days ago when it first went on. Here, I'm just looking up Harry Potter directors. So David Yates directed from 5 on. Alfonso Cuarón directed Prisoner of Azkaban. Mike Newell directed Goblet of Fire, and Chris Columbus directed the first 2.
Yeah. So
David Yates is still directing Harry Potter to this day, or Wizarding World content to this day.
So I loved that. I loved hearing how each director treated them differently based off of, like, the age group that they were in.
Yeah.
You know? Like, when Chris Columbus was director, they were all little kids. Like, little kids.
Which, like, think about what movie he was probably directing or had just directed at the time.
Yeah.
Home Alone.
Yeah. Which is, like, the quintessential kid movie, you know?
Yeah.
That's, like... So, I think...
And then we get Alfonso Cuarón with his paper that he had them write.
We'll get there. But I think that it's like, it was really sweet to see the footage of Chris on set with the kids and like getting down to their level and talking to them and letting them be kids.
Yeah, the scenes of them playing like all the hand games was just...
Yes, like saying that their hands would be bright red, like in between takes because they were playing slaps. Like,
yeah.
Like,
they
I
were
think...
just kids.
Yeah.
And they were allowed to be kids.
Which I think doesn't happen now.
Oh, no.
I don't think kids are really allowed to be kids, even just like in everyday life. I feel like there is a lot of kids who are not allowed to be kids, and
Oh, yeah.
That's
like,
one of the problems I
that's
have
the
with the
reason that
fashion
movie
industry.
Is so whimsical.
Yeah,
and
because
so
they were
childlike.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a great way to introduce
And I love
the
how
series.
he Chris Columbus even said that he felt guilty leaving them after Chamber.
But you know what? It's what was needed.
It was. Because Alfonso Cuarón, without him,
The series...
we don't get the darker Harry Potters. Because that's when it changes.
Yeah, like he said...
Do you want to talk about the paper?
Yeah, like he said in his interview... That was a weird emphasis on that word. I said it like he would have said it. No. But like he said in his interview, like, he really wanted to focus on, like, that childlike wonder that was there before. It's gone.
Yeah.
Like, they're teenagers, and this world is cold and dark and coming for them.
Dementors.
Yeah. And
we get
go
introduced
ahead.
to
You
the
can
Dementors
talk about the paper now.
So I knew about this story already, about the paper.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah, but my mom didn't. It was the funniest thing to see her reaction, because she and I watched this special together. So we were watching it, and they started talking about the paper, and I'm like, oh, I know this story. And my mom's listening to it, and she's like, they are their characters. For those of you who don't know, when Alfonso Cuarón came on to The Prisoner of Azkaban, he had Emma, Rupert, and Dan all write a paper about their characters. And Daniel wrote about a page, maybe 2 pages. Emma Watson wrote like 10 or 12 pages, I think they said in the special.
Like 12
and Rupert
pages.
Grint never turned it in.
Mm-hmm. And his reasoning was Ron wouldn't do the
Ron
assignment.
wouldn't turn it in. They are such their characters.
They really are. Dan did like a page and a half. He was like, yeah, this is good.
Like, J.K. Rowling's written 4 books about it already.
Yeah.
But a
There's
page
not
is
much
good.
to add, you know. He's Harry Potter.
I want to read what Emma wrote, though.
I do too. I want to read
What took her
both
12
of them.
pages?
I know. I want to read it all. I want to read hers. I want to read Dan's. I want to see the blank page of Rupert's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting them talking about how, and this is a few movies later, how all 3 of them thought about leaving.
Yeah, at different times.
At different times, but it was all right around the 5th movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I forget who it was. I think it was Dan, but it might have been Rupert. But they were talking about, like, oh yeah, as a 14-year-old kid, I'm not going up to another 14-year-old being like, how are you doing? Like, are you doing okay? Like,
It was Rupert.
Mentally. It was Rupert?
Yeah.
Dan also said something very similar.
Yeah,
though,
they both
at
talked
some point.
about it.
But yeah. And Tom talking about how much Emma took on because she was younger than the 2 of them.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they kind of had each other's back, and Emma was there.
Yeah. And, like, it's totally different for women in Hollywood. And, like, she wasn't even a woman yet. She was still a young girl.
Yeah, she was 15 years old when she thought about leaving.
Yeah.
14, 15.
Yeah, so she's still just a kid, you know?
Yeah.
And, like...
She just turned 30, like, last year, I think.
They did. She did.
What? She did?
Yeah. So it's like, which is crazy to think about. You look at the pictures of them now versus when they were little kids, and it's like, whoa.
She turned 31 last year. 32 this year.
Okay, there you go.
Also, I love how the third picture, when I look her up on Google, is her and Tom Felton.
Of course. Well, they said, they love each other. Maybe not romantically, but they love each other.
Okay, how they were talking about each other, I was like, we're going to get news later on this year that they're dating.
I know. Seriously, I was like, we're getting news later that they've reconnected and they're, like, together and, like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and the headlines are going to be like, Harry Potter actors, Emma Watson and Tom Felton, dating after how many years?
Yeah, seriously, I would love that. Speaking of, okay, this is like not even related at all, but I love the story that Dan was telling.
Richard Harris?
Yes! When they were talking about the Phoenix. Fox the Phoenix in the movie is an animatronic bird that they just kind of made up. And between takes, the guy who was like puppeteering the bird with like the remote control, whatever, was like keeping it engaged just to like, just 'cause he can. And so Richard Harris walks over to, who was it? It was Dan
Chris Columbus.
and Chris Columbus, right? Both of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
12-year-old Daniel Radcliffe and however old Chris Columbus was.
Yeah. Walks over to them and he goes, wow, a miracle. Like, wow, look at how they train these things. Like, I talk and it reacts. And they just like.
They never told him.
No, they never told him, but they busted up laughing.
Speaking of Richard Harris, all of the tributes that they did to the Potter actors that passed.
Don't even get me started. I was crying.
I forgot that Helen McCrory passed away last year.
I did too.
And then they started talking about her and I was like, oh yeah, that was last year.
Uh-huh. I forgot too. And then I was like.
She passed away of breast cancer.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, her and Alan, of course they started talking about Alan Rickman early on because Gary Oldman was like, I wish I had gotten the full picture, and he was like, oh yeah, you must have gotten it, Dan. He's like, no, I was a kid, they're not letting me know. Yeah.
It would have been a Tom Holland situation if they let Daniel.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me?
13. No.
Alan Rickman was the only one who knew what happened to anybody.
Yeah, because he was like, I will not do this film unless you tell me.
Yeah.
How my character ends.
Yeah. So she told him, and everybody begged him to tell them, and he said no.
I wish we knew what he actually said.
Me
or
too.
like what she said.
Me too.
Obviously we won't ever
never
know at this point.
Well, I mean, she could.
Yeah, she could.
But I mean, well, there's no way to know.
For sure, that's
yeah.
I also forgot that the guy who played Vernon passed away.
Yeah, I did too. He wasn't listed either.
He was.
No, he was not.
Oh wait, he wasn't listed on the cast list.
Yeah.
So many people were not listed on that cast list. Do you want to have like 3 pages of notes just for the cast list of this thing?
No. If you want to know who was in it, look up Harry Potter entire cast. That's who all was in it.
They forgot the guy who played Dobby.
Yeah, he was in it too. He was great. I loved him. I love the story. I know we've talked about it before, but I love the story of, oh gosh, what's his name? Of Jason Isaacs talking about when in Chamber of Secrets, when he's leaving Dumbledore's office and he like kicks Dobby down the stairs and then he like hits him with the cane and then Chris Columbus is like, oh, can we wipe up that spot where Jason just like slipped? And he was like, no, I'm fine. Like, what do you mean? I didn't slip. And he's like, well, what did you do? And he's like, oh, I kicked Dobby down the stairs. Then what'd you do with the stick? Oh, I hit him when he tried to get back up. And he was like, he was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I love that story. It's a great story.
Hold on. I'm just looking to see what else. So the guy who played Dobby is named Toby Jones.
And he's
there
amazing. I love him.
He's in Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Who?
Here, I'll type it in our Zoomcast or copy paste it.
Okay. Anyway.
He's also Claudius in Hunger Games.
No.
I am on his IMDb page right now. He was also the voice of Owl in Christopher Robin.
Oh my gosh, he totally does play Professor Zola. Oh my gosh, he totally does.
Yeah, so Dobby the House Elf is Professor Zola.
I knew I recognized him from something.
Honestly, same.
I was like, how do I know this guy? Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh, he was in that Finding Neverland movie with Johnny Depp. It was Johnny Depp, right?
The Lost Boys?
No, Finding Neverland.
I don't know that one.
Based on playwright J.M. Barrie and the relationship with the family to inspire him to create Peter Pan. That movie? It was made into a Broadway show that kind of failed.
Oh.
But it's a gorgeous
I think I heard
show.
the music from the show.
But Toby Jones was the guy who plays the actor of Smee. Because he's working on the play of Peter Pan.
Okay, yes.
Well.
I know, yes. I did not, honestly, okay, with the beard and, like, the goatee and, like, all that, I didn't even recognize him as Professor Zola. When he doesn't have it, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's Professor Zola. But with, like, the beard and everything, I was like, who is this?
Yeah.
But no, I love him.
That's
He's great.
crazy.
So, this is getting kind of long, so we should wrap this up.
So what would you rate this, like, documentary special thing?
I give it a 9.5.
Same.
I liked it.
What do you think the critics and the audience score is?
Oh, shit. I don't know. Let's
on
skip
Rotten
that.
Tomatoes.
Let's skip it.
Skip it?
Yeah.
Should I just say it?
Sure.
Since I brought up the question?
Sure.
So it's a 95% certified fresh critics score.
Okay.
And an 89% audience score.
Not too shabby. Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, all in all, I think in these past few weeks, a lot of good stuff has come out.
Yes.
And I'm really excited to see the other stuff that's going to come out this year. I have yet to see No Way Home. That's my bad. We were supposed to watch it, and then I was still sick. Spoiled? No, I haven't been spoiled, so don't say anything.
Oh my gosh, how have you not been spoiled?
Encanto TikTok saved me, girl.
I'm on Encanto and No Way Home TikTok.
I am not. And anytime I see anything that says Spider-Man spoilers, I skip hardcore.
I almost got spoiled, and I will let you know what it is when you finally watch this movie.
We're going
this
week. We decided we're going this week. It's just because, so we had this thing. Me and my boyfriend had this thing where it was like, oh, you can do dinner and a movie at the Sugar Factory downtown, which is great. So we're really stoked. Yeah. I want to go. But the thing is, we were supposed to go last Thursday, but as you know, last Thursday I was still very ill.
Yes.
So I just ended up going over to his place and we just kind of hung out for a little bit. So, because I was like, I cannot go out in public. I lived in sweats for an entire week and PJs, and it was awful. But anyway, we will
Shall we see them in the outro?
Yes, that is just what I was going to say.
Okay. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Fan Fatales. We are a proud member of the Real Fans Network.
That's right. There's a huge variety of shows to listen to, like Real Fans for Real Movies, Holy Batcast, the All Batman podcast, which Emma is listening to right now.
Yes, I am. I'm actually a really big DC fan. I don't really talk about it here, but I am.
Yes, and Disorder, every Disney movie, which I'm listening to right now. You watch the movies, listen to the podcast. Very nice. You learn a lot.
I want to do that this year. That's another goal of mine.
There you go. Andy and Michael and Hunter are so much fun to listen to on Disorder every Disney movie. That's a great one. And there's also Please Rewind, which is the retro movie show.
Yes. So join us next week where we will be talking about what we would do if we were Disney Parks CEO and some of the expansions to Disneyland and Disney World that were recently announced.
Remember to subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts.
We are on Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Please leave us a review and comment down below to tell us what you thought of the show. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at FanFatalesPod for the latest updates and to possibly be featured in a future episode. Now, Emma, where can the people find you on social media?
So my Instagram and TikTok are both at SnippyEmma, which is SNIPPYEMMA. What about you, Gabs?
I'm at Gaby Gent on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. That's GABYJENT.
Our music is by our amazing friend Maddie Macon.
And our editing is by the amazing and wonderful Kara Linsmeyer.
As always, thanks for tuning in.
Bye! The views expressed in